Were you guys ever midnight showing people? Like, do you remember going to the theater at 12 o'clock to go see a movie?
Yes, absolutely. Dude, I have pictures of me and my girlfriends that we all went to go see Spider-Man 3 at midnight.
Nice.
And we bought matching Spider-Man t-shirts. But you know what? Spider-Man 3 came out off of the top of my head without Googling it. I'm going to say it was probably 2006 or 2007. And they don't make like girls quote shirts for Spider-Man back then. So we all went to the little boys section at Target and we bought all these like matching little boys t-shirts for Spider-Man. And we all went to the midnight showing. And there's all of these pictures of us doing like the Spider-Man hand gesture. But yeah, no, we were all about that. Me and my friends would go to all of those Marvel just to show how long I've been a nerd for. We've been doing this midnight showing thing for a long time. But then also in college here in Phoenix, there was some little indie theater and they were showing Rocky Horror Picture Show. And they were doing like the cult following thing where you throw pieces of toast at the screen.
Oh my God.
And we'd never been before, so we had to do the virgin sacrifice where they stand up and, you know, if you're a virgin for Rocky Horror, they like kind of shame you and stuff. But God, it was so fun. Like we all wore black pleather and there was a dance party. And I mean, even now, like my husband and I are also very like, we're midnight showing people. When all the Marvel movies come out, like we don't want to be around all the youngsters and the teenagers and stuff, but I want to see that stuff as soon as possible.
See, I miss that, like when it was actually at midnight and it was like, you know, there were only a handful of theaters showing it and the tickets sold out. It was like a race to, you know, because I feel like it was much more of an event.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, showings start at 8 p.m. and it's in every single theater all night long. And it doesn't feel as exclusive. Like you don't have to line up anymore. It's like you can just kind of show up and reserve your seat. It's not so much an event as it used to be, I think.
I love those events and I love everyone wearing the matching t-shirts. And like, I miss like, we saw Endgame. I want to say it was at midnight. But it might have been one of those 8 p.m. showings. But even then, it's like that reaction from the crowd that you get.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Spoiler for Avengers Endgame, I guess. But like that reaction you get when like Cap catches the hammer and when he's like, Avengers Assemble and everyone just screams in the theater.
Or everybody coming through the portals and just the cheers.
Yes.
And then
on your left.
The absolute silence when Tony dies and all you can hear is
God.
You hear the sniffles and the sobs.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
I used to sound like for somebody who like screeched when Spider-Man was going away. I was like, I was like, whoa. I was like, whose grandma's that?
Just hold their hand for a minute.
Oh man.
Were you a midnight showing guy, Alex? Did you go to a lot of midnight showing?
I've only been to one midnight showing and that was for 300. And it was pretty intense. It was awesome, actually. I didn't know that there was this life at night. And,
did you go shirtless?
No, I went. We just came out from. So this was back in high school, and we were doing a play, and we get out like at 11 p.m. But we like bought our tickets like way early because we knew it was going to be sold out. But when we got there were people wearing blankets on their crotches and nothing else and like having these like fake spears, and it was just like an environment and everybody was just like in the lobby waiting for this to happen.
Yes, I love that. And
yeah, just like in Avengers and all the people feeling so emotional and attached to it, that's pretty much what happened on 300. When Leonidas was about to kick homie off of the cliff and he was like, "This is Sparta," everybody was yelling it. Yeah, it feels like a community with all these strangers and just watching this.
Yeah, it totally is a community. And like, I don't know, before I ever cosplayed, and I think before Comic-Cons really blew up to what they are right now, because prior to like 2008, Comic-Cons were still kind of, limited events for like absolute nerds, you know, and like everyone kind of looked at him like, oh, we're not going to that until, you know, movie studios and stuff started getting involved. But before I ever cosplayed, like that feeling of community and like finding geeks and being amongst my people.
That's midnight showings.
Yeah, it happened at midnight showings. Yep, exactly. I remember, I think my favorite midnight showing experience, and I've been to a lot, but I think aside from Endgame, because that is absolutely iconic, I think my favorite experience was my senior year of high school. I went with my brother to the midnight showing of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Nice.
And we camped out.
Aww.
So I think we lined up at like, we lined up, I think at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you had to prep for that. So we brought, you know, food and board games and our lightsabers, and we've still got pictures of us, you know, doing lightsaber battles in line and playing Trivial Pursuit with some strangers.
That's so cool.
But it was so fun. And yeah, I just, you know, with movies coming back and theaters reopening, it's hard not to be a little nostalgic for those awesome experiences and looking forward to many more of them in the future.
Coming in hot from the Valley of the Sun.
It's the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast. We are thrilled to be with you once again. As always, we've got our junkies here. I'm Hayley.
It's your boy Alex.
I'm Shauna.
And we are missing Nicole this week. She is absent from this week's episode, but don't worry. She'll be back next week. Just a brief hiatus.
What do you think Nicole's doing right now? Like, let's imagine. What's Nicole doing right now?
I think she's auditioning for the next Bachelor season.
Oh, shoot.
She's always talking about how she wants to be in that show. So
I think she has gone to New York to try to find where they are filming organized crime so she can try to get at Chris Maloney. That's what I think.
She's trying to see them cheeks. She wants to see them cheeks in real life.
I don't blame her. Well, wherever she is, she will be back soon. And we miss her, but we thought we would take the opportunity this week in her absence to maybe gear the show in a slightly geekier direction than normal. And we're going to do a deep dive into some Marvel content. But before we do, what have you guys been watching this week? Let's talk about the news. What's in the headlines? What's going on?
Oh, man. I've been so out of it this week. I've honestly, like, I was just even asking my husband the past couple of days, like, have we even watched anything? And I know we were doing our Marvel rewatch, but I don't know, a little personal rant. We're trying to buy a house, and if anyone's trying to buy a house in 2021, like briefly, like don't do it. It's like really hard. Oh my God, it's been so hard. It started as this like adventure, like, yeah, we're gonna buy a house, and now it's just like, oh, we didn't get that offer either. Oh, that's Gucci. Okay, like we're just kind of, I don't know, we're over it. It's taking forever.
My best friend Eric. Shout out to Eric, by the way. He got a Pop Culture Junkie shirt, and he's a homie.
Eric?
What's up, Eric? He supports the show.
Dog, man,
dog.
He just bought a house, and it was like hell on earth. He told me all the horror stories, and I was just like, as soon as you said you were trying to buy a house, Shauna, I was like, may the force be with you, girl.
Oh,
it is
thank you.
A nightmare out there.
Gracious. It's not been fun. So honestly, like, I've been watching my usual stuff, which is honestly a lot of anime this week. So I watch My Hero Academia week to week. Right now they're doing the Class A versus Class B arc. Honestly, the only really thing that's going on is you kind of get to see like the characters have their new moves that they're showing off. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of plot advancement, but it does seem like a good opportunity to see some new moves that people have been learning and like what they've all been doing during their internships and stuff. I just started a new anime called Jujutsu Kaisen with my husband that he was begging me to watch. And I always try to follow this rule with anime where you give it like 3 episodes, right? So the first episode, okay, maybe it didn't really suck you in. Give it 3 episodes. And then because I watched one and it didn't really suck me in. And I was like, whatever, babe, you can watch this by yourself. And then I walk in one day and he's watching an episode of this show. And I look over and I'm like, what are you watching? That looks sick. And he's like, it's literally that show that you said you didn't want to watch. And I was like, damn it. Wait. Wait, can we start over?
Go back.
I take it back. And he's like, okay. So Jujutsu Kaisen, it's a really cool show. It follows pretty formulaic anime recipe, but I'm into it. And then let's see. I said after last week, I promised you guys I was going to start Invincible, and we did.
All right.
Totally started Invincible, and we are like 5 or 6 episodes in.
Oof,
and God, right? And you know what? So I run like a stupid, like nerdy meme group on Facebook. And there's this super popular Invincible meme that's going around the internet right now where he's like, think. And that spoiled the show for me. Like, I assumed, I'm not going to spoil it right now, but I assumed that that's where it's going. If you watch the first episode of Invincible, you kind of get, and I think we talked about it.
We talked about it.
Episode.
Yeah. Omni-Man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Omni-Man is like, sorry, spoiler, 3, 2, 1. He's bad.
Yeah.
And you literally get that in episode 1. So it's not much of a spoiler, but like, so we kind of like are going down this path where I know that Omni-Man's a bad guy, but this meme, I'm like, oh shoot, they fight? Okay. I guess they fight.
I hate when that happens, when a meme spoils stuff for you. It's
right.
Worst.
It wasn't a shock, but yeah.
Even though they make you feel like Omni-Man is bad just through the beginning, you still feel like maybe, you're still trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And you think that maybe there's something here, like the purpose.
And like, okay, no one say anything because I'm only on episode like 5 or 6. But yeah, like he takes Deb to France or something and they go on some romantic trip. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he legitimately seems like he really cares about his son and his wife. Mm-hmm. So I'm prepared for that to not be the case. Mm. But I still, even though I know that he's bad, like you just said, like I'm still rooting for him for some reason because they set him up to be like, he makes it seem like he's such a chill dad and such a chill husband. So I'm like, is he really bad? Come on, man. He seems so nice.
Just wait.
Family.
But no, I'm really glad that we started it and we're really enjoying it. So that's what I've been watching a lot of this week. It's just a lot of animated stuff.
Nice. What about you, Alex?
What have I watched? Actually, it's superhero related. It's on Netflix. It's called El Vecino, The Neighbor. It's in Spanish. And it's about this guy and this girl who are like out on like a kind of like an overnight stay at this like chateau, and then they're having like their like little argument, and all of a sudden something falls from the sky, and it's this guardian of something, and he's like, this is, if you're receiving this message, it's because I'm dead, and now you have to take my powers and like take care of the galaxy,
like Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And kind of. But the thing about this show, it's a superhero comedy. So there's literally it's not even a superhero show. It's just a show about this guy that has this relationship with his girlfriend, and he's like trying to rekindle it, and all these things are happening, and he just happens to have access to powers.
Oh, that sounds cool. Wait, one more time. What's it called?
The Neighbor. It's on Netflix.
The Neighbor. Okay, and you said it's like in Spanish and it's subtitled.
It's in Spanish. I watched it in Spanish, and I watched the subtitles in Spanish too. So there's probably audio. Maybe it's dubbed.
Yeah.
If anything, the subtitles could be in English.
I could probably get like 50% of it in Spanish, but yeah, if there's subtitles,
so I don't know how the jokes would translate in English, but it's pretty funny. It's very like raunchy TVMA kind of jokes, just like very dirty jokes.
That sounds cool.
It's funny. Yeah, it's cute. And I watched that movie, The Voyagers, which is pretty much Lord of the Flies in space.
And who's in that one?
Colin Farrell's in it.
Oh, I love
and
Colin
Lily
Farrell.
Rose Depp. She's in it. And, they do a great job. So the first half of the movie, I was really into it. And then I think it just like ended too quickly right afterwards. I felt like it was just an easy way out. Like in the middle, like there's like the climax and then like you're like, trying to like hope that nothing crazy happens to these kids in space. And then like 10 minutes in, it's resolved. And then 5 minutes in, it's 86 years later. And you're like, well, how did we even get here? But for the first half, and just because I like space stuff, I'd pop it if you like space stuff.
How many beers, Alex? How many beers do I need to enjoy?
I would say 3.5.
3.5. Oh, God. Okay, so 2 to 3.5 beers for
yeah. I'm a big guy, somewhat. So it takes me that much.
That's fair.
The thing, you can start without it, but I would say that by the time that you hit the middle of the movie, make sure you've already had
one
those
waiting
drinks.
for you, so you're just like, oh God, this is stupid. Wait.
Oh man. Well, I'm like you guys. I haven't been watching a whole lot. I've been rewatching the Muppets ABC series from 2015 that was canceled far too soon.
The like adult one.
Correct. Yes. So I've been rewatching that one, and then I've been binge watching Rex on HBO Max, which is another show that was canceled too soon. There's 3 seasons of it. It is an ensemble comedy about, it's basically a spoof of Lost. So it's about a group of people who their plane crashes on this deserted island and they have to survive. But it makes fun of Lost and then also like then springs off into its own territory. But it is
nice.
The first 2 seasons are absolutely hilarious. Like, I'm crying, laughing. It's very bizarre humor, like very stupid humor. So you have to be okay with people vomiting on each other and falling in a pit. You have to be okay with that kind of stuff. But if you are, then yeah, I recommend Wrecked. We're almost done with the 3rd and final season of that show. And I like it a lot. It's very much my type of humor.
I like stupid stuff.
Yeah, it's real stupid, and it's got Reese Darby from Flight of the Conchords, another very stupid, funny thing. And Jermaine Clement shows up in the 3rd season as well.
Just want to mention, Jermaine Clement retweeted Pop Culture Junkie podcast on Twitter.
Pretty.
We're basically besties.
We're off, like, obviously famous now.
Yeah,
there's a song.
Totally.
No, I love Flight of the Conchords.
That's how I felt when Dylan McDermott liked one of my tweets last week. I was like, no autographs, you guys. Sorry.
And like pretty famous, you guys.
We're totally
famous. So,
And then speaking of Dylan McDermott, prepping for the big Law & Order SVU and organized crime crossover that's coming up.
Another one.
Yeah, I've been spiraling daily over just reruns. So if you find Law & Order SVU on Hulu, there are collections that you can watch. So like one is called Ripped from the Headlines, and it's a collection of episodes that are like based on true stories.
Oh, that's cool.
And then there's one called Best of Benson and Stabler, and it's the best episodes that highlight their relationship. So
maybe
I'll just
watch that one because like I really like ships. So maybe I'm only interested in the episodes that highlight the ship.
They honestly, that's all you need to watch is just that collection, and you'll see in. Like, we watched this one episode the other night where they're just back and forth the whole episode. They're just staring at each other, like eyeing each other up and down. And I'm like, what is the reason? Like, they're in love from very early on. So yeah, you'll
I don't know
dive
if
into the ship.
I don't know if I can do a subtle ship because like I love like Lucifer. I'm obsessed with. What do you think, Alex? From the beginning, they pretty much ship Lucifer and Chloe.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty obvious they're gonna bang.
Eventually, maybe.
Even though she's like, I'll only sleep with you when hell freezes over.
And he's and well.
And then spoiler for literally like 5 seasons later, they do it. And he's like, are you cold? I'm sorry. There's my British accent again. And she's like, "Oh, you mean because hell froze over because we slept together?"
Oh, I see. I see what you did there. See, I don't know. I love the ships that torture
the slow burn.
Yeah, the slow burn.
That's exactly what happened with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm all about that.
Back and forth. I'm like, just sleep together. My goodness gracious.
No, you don't know. Try 22 years, girl. 22 years, Benson and Stabler.
I don't know if I couldn't go 20. I can't go 22 years without sleeping with a guy. I'm sorry.
Well, he was married, but
I'm married, but I'm saying like when I was single, no. Yeah. 22 years, girl.
Oh,
no, come on.
So good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. My sister's coming over. We're having a little watch party for the crossover and going to totally geek out. So I'm excited about that.
That'll be fun. Charcuterie boards. That's good.
Hi, I'm Hayley the Brave, teacher and mom by day, cosplayer and pop culture junkie by, well, also by day. I'm obsessed with all things fandom and I love to talk about it. So join me and some of my friends as we geek out about TV, movies, music, and all the awesome things that make life worth living. Listen to my podcast, 30 Nerdy and Thriving, available now on all major streaming platforms.
All right, guys. So now that we're sitting a couple weeks out from the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale, and we've had some time to like sit with it, read some articles, see the responses. How do you guys feel overall about the series and, you know, comparing it to WandaVision and just kind of your overall analysis or response to what Marvel has put out so far this year?
Man, I'm just really excited for everything that's about to come in. And I also feel like Marvel has really done a lot in just giving you different content. You know, I mean, I think we spoke about it before and talked about how WandaVision is so different than what we've been used to watching Marvel movies, and how, you know, Marvel movies are very action heavy, superhero heavy, and WandaVision and even Falcon and Winter Soldier, you know, they had their own different styles. Yeah. And I see that happening even more with the new releases that they've announced. You know, we have martial arts movies, you know, we have the Loki series that's coming out, you know, all these things that are really putting everything together. I'm excited for all of it.
I agree. It's like when we first started watching WandaVision, it's so different from anything that we've ever seen. And it really taps into the grieving process. And I really do appreciate, like, looking back that they didn't have Doctor Strange in it. Like, at the time, I was like, oh, let's have some cameos. But, like, thinking back, I'm glad that it was just a woman's journey with grief and what it's like to really just go through the process. And then, you know, we jump into Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's a lot more, quote unquote, like a Marvel series. It felt a lot more like a Marvel movie. But at the same time, it dealt with a lot of really deep issues. It dealt with, obviously was, you know, rooted in racism and, you know, like Falcon's journey to becoming like a Black Captain America, and just PTSD with Bucky's journey. And I will admit, like, there was a point in the series when I was like, I really wish that they would have an episode that really just focused on relationship building with Bucky and Sam. And then literally the next episode, they were on hiatus from hunting or like going after the enemy, and it was literally just a relationship building episode. I loved it.
Yeah. And it didn't feel rushed either, because I was afraid that they were just going to force their relationship to happen. Yeah. But I felt like it was very natural. They just, it really, you know, they ended up, at first they just happened to be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
And then gradually they're like working together to like fight evil and stuff. And I think, you know, just going back to like what you're talking about bringing in issues, whether it's, you know, related to grief or, you know, depression or other sorts of issues, I feel like that's kind of what has made Marvel historically, like Marvel Comics. Because, I mean, you know, a lot of these, like Captain America, correct me if I'm wrong, but at least some of these early superheroes
he
came
fought
out
Hitler
during,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like they were literally connecting, or at least responding or reacting or creating some sort of conversation through these comic books of real life. And I think that's what, we're doing now. And, it's great to see. Because I think that's what's important, being able to have that connection with these superheroes. And what better way than to be able to connect with something that's happening in front of you in your day-to-day life, but also reflected in this superhero universe.
Yeah, I definitely think, looking at the two series, obviously they're both created to bridge the gap between, the phase 3 and phase 4. And they both do that. They both serve that purpose to be able to take Wanda from where she was to losing Vision and really losing everything to where she is now, where she feels like she has something to fight for again, something worth trying to get back. And with Sam and Bucky, I think, Sam was very much a guy of duty, like he was going to do the job because it's his job. But Bucky didn't necessarily have much to live for without Cap anymore. And so they both needed to go through that journey too of, what is my next step? And I feel that overall, WandaVision was a stronger series in that I don't want to say it's flawless, but if I have to find a flaw, it's very minor. Whereas Falcon and Winter Soldier, I feel like they, a couple of the things were a little rushed or maybe felt a little out of place. But overall, I think it did its job in telling the story that it needed to tell for the future.
I agree. I think that Falcon and Winter Soldier could have done with another episode or two. I think it was shorter than WandaVision, right?
Was it?
There were only 6 Falcon and Winter Soldier episodes, but they were longer. The episodes were longer versus the WandaVision episodes.
Because they were like less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. It felt more rushed. And I am really glad that they had that episode that was really just relationship building between Bucky and Sam, because I thought that was very needed. Because, I love action as much as the next person, but I really need to know why these people are here, why they care, why we should care about them, what got them to this place, what's next. So I really liked all of those moments a lot.
And it gives us the deep dive into their psyche, which we got a lot of with the original 6, right? But not so much with the new players, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we know what all of those main characters are going through because they all got their movies. They, Iron Man and Captain America and Thor all got their own 3 movie arc here. But Sam and Bucky and even Natasha, I mean, not in the series yet, but, with her own movie coming up soon, we kind of know what's going on with them, but it's really cool to be able to see really what's going on with their psyche.
And Hawkeye's getting a thing too, right?
Yeah, Hawkeye's going to have a series coming out where he is going to be training the new Hawkeye.
Yeah, I love that. No, overall, I think these first 2 series have been super successful. And I think it just kind of paints the picture to show that all of these Marvel series are things that it's going to be great television. And they're going to just, Marvel doesn't produce bad stuff. Everything we watch, we know we're going to get something great. And it's
even
just,
The Dark World, which is pretty much, usually looked at as the worst of all the Marvel movies, is still better than a lot of other movies.
It is really not that bad.
Yeah.
Right? Honestly, I think that was the last movie that my husband and I watched in our rewatch. And we were like, okay, yeah. I get it. I get why this is the dud. But at the same time, it's better than a lot of the DC movies. Sorry.
Oh man.
I'll take that over, Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, it stands up. It's still a good movie. Is it an A+, flawless? No, maybe it's a B.
Yeah.
But B's get degrees, right?
Looking ahead, we've got the next Marvel content that's going to come out is the Loki series, which comes out in June. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited. I've always loved Loki as a character. I love what Tom Hiddleston brings to the character. And I mentioned this on my podcast, but I am like this weird underground massive fan of Owen Wilson. I had this epiphany the other day that I was like, I've liked everything that guy has ever done.
Wow.
You know, it took me a really long time to realize that Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson are related. And then I looked at them together and I was like, duh.
Yeah, their like big break movie was Bottle Rocket. They made it together.
They made it together?
Mm-hmm.
I love Owen Wilson. I think he's so funny and he's very handsome and he seems just like a chill ass guy.
Yeah, he'd be like a guy I'd want to hang out with. And he was in a music video for The Killers, so we would at least have something in common that we could chat about.
I'm super excited about the Loki series, and I love Marvel trailers historically show you enough to get you interested, but not enough to spoil a gosh darn thing about it.
Yeah.
Like, we know what's kind of going on with Loki. Like, we know he's in trouble with the time police of some sort. But like, there's going to be so much going on.
We know he's going to be traveling through time.
Exactly.
And that's about it. Yeah.
Because it leaves off where he gets like sucked by the Tesseract, right?
He picks up the Tesseract in Endgame. So it's okay. So
alternate reality.
Exactly. OG Loki dies. Thanos kills him. Spoiler. Sorry. Whatever. It was like 3 years ago. Thanos kills Loki in the very beginning of Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then later, the Avengers go back in time, and they encounter...
Very beginning of Infinity War now.
Yeah, that's right.
Very beginning of
and
Infinity
they run into a younger version of Loki, or younger, I don't know, an earlier version of Loki.
The version from the original Avengers movie. So like evil trying to take over the world Loki.
Yep. And the Tesseract drops in the floor and kind of slides over to him, and he kind of looks around and like picks it up and then just bloop. And that's the Loki that we're following in this series, is the one who blooped while holding the Tesseract. So actually that brings up a good question. So the Loki who died was kind of redeemed at that point, right? Like, I mean, he loved his brother. He died as a good guy. He died with honor. He's fought with the good guys a lot. This Loki that we saw who picked up the Tesseract and we're following now, whose allegiances does he follow? Like,
it's not the same Ragnarok Loki that we...
I mean, he didn't go through all that trauma in Dark World, where he watches his mother die, and Ragnarok, where he fights with Thor, where he stands up to Thanos for Thor, and Endgame. Like, is this just pure out bad boy?
That's going to be interesting. And is he going to go, if he's going through time, is he going to interact with that version of himself that is different than the version that he knows now if he travels?
Right, and he's like, what on earth are you doing?
That's interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Meow, meow, meow.
I've been seeing some theories that say that he's going to find a way to save Natasha from dying.
That
and
would
then
be
that's
sick.
going to be her re-entry into Phase 4.
That really makes sense to me, because I honestly, like, I don't see Scarlett Johansson leaving the MCU. I mean, she's young and beautiful and so popular, and like she's got, like, Black Widow has so much story potential. Like, there's like Robert Downey Jr. is a man in his mid-50s. He's completed this arc of this journey, right? And obviously, Chris Evans is young, but he also, like, Steve Rogers completed a full arc. I just don't feel like Natasha has.
Yeah.
Especially because this is her first movie.
Speaking of, I'll do a quick dive into, we've got 3 huge Marvel movies that are next on the slate for 2021. So we're going to dive into them a little bit, and I'll start with Black Widow. So Black Widow was actually supposed to come out May of 2020 originally, and has been pushed back 3 times due to the pandemic. And now it is slated to come out July 9th of 2021, and it's looking like that date is going to hold, assuming everything remains progressing and in the right direction. And it is going to be released in theaters and on Disney Plus Premier Access, so people can watch it from the comfort of home if they so choose. It stars Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, obviously, and it's not so much an origin story for Natasha because we got a little bit of her origin story in the original movies as she, describes to the Avengers and to Bruce Banner. But it takes place between Captain America Civil War and Infinity War. So if you remember at the end of Civil War, the Sokovia Accords have been signed, and she, along with the rest of Cap's team, are considered criminals and they have to go into hiding. And it's explained that Cap and Bucky, they go to Wakanda, but it's not explained, at least initially, what happens to Natasha. And we find out in this movie that she goes back to Russia and reunites with her OG team over there. And so they've got a great ensemble cast. I'm so excited to see David Harbour as the Red Guardian, which is basically... I'm so excited
for David Harbour. I love him.
Yeah, I love him so much. And it's so funny because he's basically Russia's Captain America, right?
Yeah.
Captain Russia.
Captain Russia.
Yeah, but it's so funny because he has been, at least from the previews, it seems as though he's maybe been in jail. He's
or
been
in retirement of some sort.
Yeah. He's out of shape.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see him. And then Florence Pugh plays Yelena, who is kind of like Natasha's partner from the Red Room, one of the girls that she fought alongside.
And I loved her in Midsommar.
I loved her in Little Women. She was fantastic. Oh, yeah, I can't wait to see her. And then the rest of the cast, Rachel Weisz, obviously, is in it. She's like the team leader, Melina. And then we've got some people who I wasn't familiar with. O.T. Fagbenley, I want to say.
You know what? He is from Handmaid's Tale. He is June. He plays June's husband that she had in the before times.
Who I hate so much in Handmaid's Tale.
And and I'm way behind you in Handmaid's Tale, Alex. So I really liked him.
I don't know. I feel like he can do so much more to protect his family. He's really just out here in Canada.
Oh my gosh. I need to catch up so hard. Because last I saw, I was like, I feel so bad for this guy.
I mean, at first I did, but like, bro, what are you doing? You're letting your families out there. Go get them. But maybe that's just me.
Well, I don't know yet if he's a good guy or not. He plays Rick Mason, who is a SHIELD agent in the, Marvel universe. But, you've got good SHIELD agents like Phil Coulson, and you've got some not so good SHIELD agents too. So we'll see. But then William Hurt reprises his role as Thaddeus Ross, who was the Secretary of State who kind of initiated the Sokovia Accords. So he's back in it. So lots of people. And then, of course, we know the Taskmaster is the main villain of the story. And I didn't know anything about the Taskmaster. So I was researching a little bit about kind of who that is in the Marvel universe. And it's actually really cool. He is super mysterious. No one knows his identity. He's a mercenary who trains aspiring criminals. And he has a photographic reflexes, so he can mimic anybody's fighting style. So if you can do it, he can do it.
That's pretty cool.
And so that's really cool. And it explains why in the movie posters, we don't know who it is. We don't know who's playing the Taskmaster. And that's going to be the main villain. And it seems that the plot is Natasha and company are out to kind of take down the Red Room and the leader and save some of these young girls from going through the same stuff that she went through. And I was really excited to find out that it was written by Jack Schaefer, who wrote WandaVision. So
nice.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be the first theatrical release since Endgame from Marvel. And I'm counting down the minutes until I can get my butt in a movie theater and go see it.
Yeah, there's more movies coming out. There's Shang-Chi that's coming out on September 3rd. And I don't know much about this character. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, whoa, this is dope. It has this like old school martial arts vibe.
Yes.
And, I am also a fan of Iron Fist. I know they didn't really get
I liked Iron Fist.
Yeah, me too.
I liked it too. I'm like an Iron Fist defender.
The whole Defenders, like all of them. I loved Netflix Marvel. But they're saying that Iron Fist might actually be reintroduced in this film.
I could see that.
And I mean, I don't really know how. There's like some theories that there's like a tournament that's going to happen and he's going to go, and Danny Rand, who plays Iron Fist, might be part of this tournament. But based off the trailer for Shang-Chi, it's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And that's kind of like the tournament, that's the people that are trying to win the 10 rings. And from what I understand in the trailer, it's this guy who like leaves his family, wants to do his own thing, just like live his own life. And he's, apparently this master of, he's known as, Simu Liu, the master of Kung Fu.
Yeah, I think his dad trained him to be this master, but then he realizes his dad's like a bad guy.
And in the trailer, it shows that. I don't know. But I mean, it shows in the trailer, like, it shows him like being hit by sticks as like a preteen and like going through, which I would understand, like he would want to leave that. But then, the whole past reaching up to your present and like having to fight those things that, been haunting you your whole life, the things that you've been trying to escape from. So, I mean, I dig it because of the martial arts. I don't think there's ever really been a martial arts Marvel film.
No.
And so this is going to be really cool to see in person. I mean, there's been Iron Fist, and that's, technically martial arts, and even Daredevil. But like, you're bringing in the master of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And just I think as I liked, Enter the Dragon and, those Bruce Lee films and like even like Jet Li films, that kind of like gave me like this, all right, Marvel is now bringing back that like crazy, like choreographed martial arts. And I'm so for it.
I totally agree. And I think it's so important to have an all Asian cast, especially in like 2021, where we see so many instances of like anti-Asian violence and crime raising right now. Like, I think it's amazing to see that an all Asian ensemble cast just kicking ass and like, it's, proving that they're powerful and like, which we already know, like, and like, it just that representation I think is so important and so overdue in Marvel films. And like you said, it's funny to think that we haven't had anybody do like hardcore martial arts like that in any of these films before. Like, I really think that, I mean, we see it in, those styles in other films. We see jujitsu being used by obviously the stunt coordinators and things in these movies. But like to see that really just, these are the characters who were implementing that, I think is just so incredible and powerful.
And just to correct myself, Simu Liu is the actor. Or just to clarify that, Shang-Chi is the master of Kung Fu. Awkwafina is also in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's
so
funny.
Cool.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
And I was reading so the 10 rings is like the name of the type of fighter. So like you've got, how you have like the Green Lantern Corps? So you've got like the lanterns, right? So in Iron Fist, in Kunlun, you've got the Iron Fists. Like those are the fighters. And so in Shang-Chi, you've got the 10 rings. Like that's the name of like the 10 fighters. And in the comics, the Iron Fist face off against the 10 rings. So
interesting.
They battle in Kunlun. And so, it's, who knows what the future is.
And we got a teaser for the 10 rings, but it never really followed through in the third Iron Man movie because we got the Mandarin, but it turned out to be like a faux Mandarin. Do you guys remember that? Mm-hmm. And they talked about the 10 rings in that movie a lot. And it kind of seemed like that's what they were setting up.
I believe that the Mandarin is going to be a villain in this movie.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like the actual Mandarin instead of like the fake actor Mandarin that they had in Iron Man 3. So it kind of seems like that was a plot point that Marvel was building up for a while and then maybe just either dropped or put on hold or decided that they didn't really want to do. But
Marvel's playing the long game, dude.
Right. Or they know exactly what they're doing.
I know Kevin Feige, man, he definitely, he's got a plan. He's got a game plan for sure. Right. So who knows?
Yeah. If they do sneak in Iron Fist and like Netflix Danny Rand, do you think that'll open up the Defenders on Disney Plus?
Here's the thing. I feel like okay, I'm glad to hear that you guys liked Iron Fist too, because I definitely did. I feel like it got so much pushback, and that the actor who played Danny Rand, like a lot of people didn't like him. And I went to one of his panels at Comic-Con, and he could not have been like a nicer dude. And like, I don't know, he absolutely loved playing Danny Rand and being in Iron Fist, but he has said that he himself has moved on. Like, he's not holding on to that anymore. And I think it had to be hard on him to deal with a lot of like the fan reaction. So I think he's moved on. So I think if they bring in Danny Rand, it's going to be a different one.
A recast.
And it's going to be it's going to be a recast, or it's going to be Colleen Wing, because they had set her up as potentially the new Iron Fist.
She had both of them, right? She had both fists by the end of Iron Fist. Yeah. I agree. I've also seen rumors that Danny Rand would be recast, or that Colleen would take over the mantle. But I think that we're going to maybe hopefully get Daredevil and Jessica Jones from the series with the original actors.
I would love that.
I would love it too.
Yeah, I think those were the two most popular Netflix Marvel shows, and I think they got the best fan reactions, and I could see those going forward. I really liked the first season of Luke Cage. The second one, I think, got poorer reactions. I'm not sure if I haven't heard any rumors of him coming back, and I think he's in other series, but I really think that they could bring back Charlie Cox and Kristen Ritter as Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and I would be here for it.
Yeah, same.
And there's been some rumors of that happening in the if we get the Spider-Verse movie in the next Spider-Man, that, you know, Charlie Cox might just pop up. That'd be crazy.
Speaking of Spider-Man, the Venom trailer came out, and I'm wondering, like you said, Spider-Verse, I'm wondering if eventually that will be kind of combined, right? Especially being the whole Sony Disney.
Yeah. Because that's still a Sony property, isn't it? Venom?
It is, yeah. And I don't think that they've announced or confirmed any kind of crossovers there, especially because I think the first Venom movie wasn't particularly successful, which surprises me that they're even bothering with a sequel, honestly.
That's what I was going to say, is like, what world are we living in where Superman Man of Steel didn't get a sequel, but
who's
Venom is getting a
asking
sequel?
For the Venom sequel? Is anyone really like, God, I really want a Venom sequel, man?
Yeah, we got The Defenders on Netflix canceled, but a sequel to Venom.
Like,
makes
I
no
love
sense.
Tom Hardy as much as the next horny chick, but
I mean, I'm excited for Woody Harrelson as Carnage. That I'm excited for, because I love him. He's dope.
I'm going to go real quick with the Eternals, because we really didn't get a whole huge glimpse of them, but we do know that that's a Marvel movie that's coming out here soon. The Eternals is going to pick up after Endgame. They're an immortal race that's created by the Celestials. They've secretly lived on Earth for over 7,000 years. They're reuniting to protect humanity from an evil organization called the Deviants. The Eternals are created by Jack Kirby. They've been around since the 70s. They have an all-star cast. We all know that Angelina Jolie is going to be there. A super buff and hot Kumail Nanjiani is going to be in there, as well as Richard Madden and Salma Hayek. I think Kit Harington's actually going to be in there too. Which is funny that he's getting less press than Richard Madden, because he's obviously the more popular of the two, or he lived longer, I should say, in Game of Thrones. But I'm excited for the Eternals. I honestly don't know a lot about them. I think I've read like 1 or 2 issues of their comics.
These people are way too beautiful.
Right. It's a lot pretty. Of really good looking people. And we got like a very quick glimpse of it in that Marvel preview trailer. Or Let's All Go Back to the Movies trailer, I guess I should call it.
When is it coming out?
The Eternals is going to come out November 5th, 2021. So it's this year. So hopefully we get a full-length trailer, I would assume.
3 Marvel movies.
Right. My body is ready. I hope that we're going to get a full-length trailer at least by the summer.
I like this. I like this so much more than how it was before, because I hated having to wait 2 to 3 years for the next MCU movie. So this is exciting, especially after the pandemic.
Yeah, it's crazy to me to think that we're getting like so much content this year. And I get that like everything was on hold, and so now they're releasing everything, but they could have easily been like, look, since we had to hold off, we're going to keep extending, you know? But instead, Marvel's like, no, like, let's cure their depression. I was watching Kelly Clarkson's show because Mariska Hargitay was on it. So, of course, I was watching it.
Go off, girl. That's cool.
But she was saying that now with, like, movie theaters and Broadway and concerts, like, all coming back, she said, we're all going to be drunk on energy because we've been so deprived of it for so long that we're just going to get overloaded and not even like know how to function anymore. And I'm so ready for it. Like,
I just want to go to every movie and eat at every restaurant and I want to go to the club and dance so bad.
Yeah, sounds expensive.
I'm 32 years old. I don't even care. I want to go to a nightclub.
Oh man, I just want to go to a concert that's not a music festival, dude. I hate music festivals. They're like my own personal hell. And everything that's been announced so far is a music festival. And I'm like, gag, can we just get like a concert? So
dude,
I'm waiting a little longer.
I got tickets to see My Chemical Romance. And they were going to be in Chicago in September 2020. And then it got pushed to September 2021. And then My Chemical Romance ended up announcing they're pushing their entire reunion tour to 2022. So now I've had these freaking tickets. And I'm like, I'm going to go to Chicago and I'm going to be like years older, but I'm going to see My Chemical Romance again. Oh, I'm so ready. I want to see concerts and do all the things and eat all the food and drink all the drinks. And
amen. Well, here's looking forward to what we've got slated coming up for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I can't wait. And, here's hoping that we'll be, like you said, in theaters, shoving our faces with popcorn and enjoying every second of it. Thank you guys for listening. And if you want to get more content and interact with us, you can find us on socials. So, Shauna, tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
What's up? It's Shauna. Please follow me on Insta and Twitter at SHAUNATRINIDAD, Shauna Trinidad. I love you.
And Alex, what about you? Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ALCASNUN, Alcasnun.
And you can find me, Hayley, on Twitter at 30NerdyPod, on Instagram at 30NerdyThriving, and of course on my podcast, 30 Nerdy and Thriving, wherever podcasts are sold. And of course, you can find more episodes of the Pop Culture Junkie podcast and our merch on popculturejunkie.com. And wherever you are listening to this podcast right now, please hit like, follow, subscribe, rate, review, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think of the show. And we, of course, will show our appreciation and spread the love. We love to repost pics of people listening to the podcast and rocking our merch. So,
and we will be back next week with our girl, Nicole. We love you, Nicole.
Absolutely. We'll put all of Nicole's social links down in the show notes so you can go find her and tell her how much you missed her on this week's episode. And last but not least, Android users can now join Clubhouse. And speaking of Clubhouse, Pop Culture Junkies are all up in Clubhouse. So if you guys are not yet on Clubhouse, get all up in that so we can chat, because
find a friend who has
the
a
future.
friend to invite you in.
It's the wave of the future.
Be all about it.
And we will see you guys next week. Until then, go back and listen to all of our old episodes and show us some love. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye. Oh my
Thanks,
God.
all.
Bye.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group. All rights reserved.